These cowboys were ready to chase off this grizzly bear, but when Rip asked the cowboy next to him for a gun, he discovered that no one was carrying one. There was no other option, so they had to summon their courage and move forward. But the brown bear was not only not afraid, but charged straight at them. The cowboys immediately turned and ran away, but Jem fell off his horse. Seeing the grizzly bear coming toward him, Jem quickly climbed a tree. At that moment, his companions saw Jem's crisis and did not abandon him, but returned together and used a rope to catch the brown bear's head. In this way, they managed to scare away the brown bear temporarily. The farm then sent Rip to take this grizzly bear to a place where it wouldn't pose a threat to the farm, but he ripped everywhere and didn't find the bear, but instead found two tourists on the edge of a cliff. The two called for help from the edge of the cliff. Rip promised he would rescue them, then returned and threw a rope down, but the two argued over who would climb up first, and just at that moment, the woman slipped and fell into the abyss. The man collapsed instantly and also jumped after her. With a single shot, Rip killed the grizzly bear, and after recovering, Rip sat quietly under a tree to rest. The next day, state police arrived at the scene and recovered the two bodies. At the time, state police suspected that Rip was hunting illegally and that upon being discovered by the two tourists, he had thrown them off the cliff to silence them, but Rip insisted he acted in self-defense. Police said they needed the wildlife department to give its verdict. Rip then led an officer to the scene, but on the way, the officer's horse became frightened. Rip told her to jump quickly, but she didn't listen. When Rip caught up with her, he found that the officer had already fallen from her horse and her body had been impaled on a steel bar. Rip then quickly called the farm and a helicopter was dispatched for the rescue. Rip then asked the officer to give him her gun to euthanize the horse, but the officer refused to hand over her gun. Rip had to use pliers to cut the wire and rescued the officer first. But when night fell, several wolves devoured the brown bear's body. The next day, when the new wildlife officers arrived, only a skeleton remained. At that time, the trajectory of the bullet could not be confirmed either. Now, the only thing that could prove that Rip acted in self-defense were the bullet casings at the scene, but there was nothing at the scene. But old John didn't believe in that, and fired several shots at the scene. In theory, the casings should be close. If they weren't there, someone had taken them. Then old John walked straight to a state trooper and told him to hand over the stuff, and then found the shell casings in his pocket. The state police chief immediately questioned him. "Did you forget you picked up the shell casings? This is evidence." Then old John asked him where he found them. The state police officer responded that he was near the grizzly bear. The state police chief then tested the distance of the shell casing and found that he could prove that Rip acted in self-defense. Then old John told the state trooper that he was making a list and his name was already on it.